Consider statements. A statement is something that can be true or false. So examples of statements are things like all governors are rich. That's true. So it can be true or false, and so it's a statement. Bieber is a governor. I'm talking about Justin Bieber. That's false. He's not a governor. He's a pop star. So it can be true or false, and so it's a statement. Then examples of things that aren't statements are things like my phone. I have an old flip phone. I don't have a smartphone. My phone, it can't be true or false. It can exist or fail to exist, but it can't be true or false, so it's not a statement. Or think about the moon. The moon can exist or fail to exist, but it can't be true or false, so it's not a statement. Statements are just things that can be true or false. Now consider arguments. An argument is a collection of statements, some of which are intended to provide support or evidence for one of the others. So if you've got a bunch of statements together, some of them are doing supporting, some of them are intended to, one of them is intended to receive support, others are intended to provide support, then you've got an argument. An argument's not just any collection of statements. So if I've got something like, I like tomatoes, that's one statement. I like paper towels, that's another statement. Those two things together are just a collection of statements, but they're not an argument. An argument's something more like this. Here's some sample arguments, 3 sample arguments. This sample argument is all governors are rich. Bieber is a governor, so Bieber is rich. In this case, you've got 1 and 2. Those are the statements that are doing the supporting. And you have 3. That's the statement intended to receive support. Here's another example. Some governors are rich. Polis is a governor, so Polis is rich. Again, in this case, you've got 1 and 2. Those are intended to provide support. 3's intended to receive support. Then finally, we've got another sample argument. All governors are rich. Polis is a governor, so Polis is rich. 1 and 2, those are intended to provide support. 3 is intended to receive support. The premises that are the statements in an argument that are intended to provide support in each of these sample arguments 1 and 2, let's call those the premises of the argument. So if we scroll down here, we get a definition. The premises of an argument are those statements in the argument that are intended to provide support or evidence. So in each of these, it's 1 or 2. The ones that are intended to provide support, those are the premises. And let's call the statement in the argument that's receiving support, let's call that the conclusion. And in each case, in these sample arguments, it's 3. Bieber is rich, Polis is rich, and Polis is rich. And our definition of conclusion is the conclusion of an argument is that statement for which the premises are meant to provide support.